An additional premium perk begins with this episode. Conversational, long-form, deep-dive episodes. Those are in addition to the regular cinematic episodes like this one. Another perk for premium subscribers only. Upgrade today. YouShouldNotKnowThis.org.
Thank you. We subscribe and see how we could have economic and social levers to help bring this about.
You should not know this. But they're too late.
Put yourself in this situation. How would it affect you? Real people. No different from you. On the ground, in a foreign country. Being there was illegal. Fighting a secret war there, even more so. Some call it government-sanctioned war crimes. Missions so secret, the soldiers didn't wear uniforms. Their weapons were scrubbed of identification. The casualty rate was 100%. Everybody got hurt. There will be pain. If you're lucky. Their government denied their existence. When captured,
You should not know this. This is an active investigation built on public records, contemporaneous reporting, and first-hand interviews. The accused are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Some matters remain unresolved, and uncertainty is clearly stated. Some names have been changed, and graphic detail has been withheld. Discretion advised.
Ted Braden served in the Army. This will not become a military series. But you have to know where Ted was born. The broken man. Not the newborn baby. This information is not new to our investigation. Drew Beeson did a deep dive into Ted's military career years ago. It was fruitful.
The investigation into Ted Braden started for me roughly 2021. So I started where everybody else does on the internet. I'm a genealogist kind of by hobby.
He discovered what Ted Braden experienced in Vietnam would destroy even the strongest man. And maybe it did. Drew met a soldier who worked closely with Ted in the Vietnam War in the mid to late 1960s.
Team player. He was a younger man in Vietnam. He was 22, about to be 23 years old.
He served with Ted Braden in the most secretive and classified unit the Army had. Mac V. SOG. The inspiration for Rambo.
What these guys were doing was a little bit different than your conventional Army, so to speak. They were doing stuff that was really what they would call covert, where they just came and went in the night like ghost. You're not supposed to be there, so you're basically are a ghost. If they got caught, they would have to have what's called plausible deniability, like, we don't know who you are, they're not going to give their name. They obviously might look American, they speak English, but that's as far as they're going to go. So they were doing the real dirty work, but they were doing it quietly is a good way to sum up what these guys were doing.
Al Keller, Silver Star recipient, Vietnam.
I went on a couple missions with him, and we kind of got along.
These guys did things you would not. A few of us would. And even fewer have. The most dangerous missions of the war. Groups of 2 to 4 soldiers behind enemy lines. They were all injured at some point. All of them. You learned a lot about your teammates.
Ted Braden was a strange guy in many ways. He was not sociable with anybody outside of the team, and even some of the guys inside the team, it was questionable whether he was sociable with them or not.
And he was demanding.
But loyalty was absolute for Ted. You had to be loyal to him.
Like Phyllis, Al Keller didn't choose Ted Braden.
What happened that I got to be on the team was that J.D. Bath, who was the radio operator, had to go home for family emergency. So for about a month he was home, and I filled in for him for that month.
Bath was another elite soldier. It didn't take long for Al Keller to form the opinion that Ted Braden was strange. But he had to hope Ted knew what he was doing. Because there was no such thing as a second chance.
Basically, it was known that if you f***ed up out there, they'd shoot your ass.
During the Vietnam War, their missions were in Laos. The U.S. was not supposed to be there. So, the few elite soldiers on the ground, nobody had their back. They didn't wear identifiable uniforms. The Americans would deny knowing them.
One of the things Ted Braden would do was come up with new innovations that would give his team an advantage, and one of those was wearing black pajamas. And the reason for that was it would give him an extra split second if they encountered the enemy, because they would look so outlandish to the enemy. It would take the enemy another second or two to process what they were looking at. By the time that their mind realized what they were looking at, these men wearing pajamas, the good guys were able to get the drop on them, so to speak. Really the element of surprise.
When you do extreme things,
The only thing between you and the North Vietnamese Army was a slip trench and some barbed wire.
for years,
And we were actually stayed in tents.
longer than anyone else,
That wasn't reassuring, let me tell you.
survival rewrites your priorities and your mind.
We didn't shave. We didn't clean up at all. Because if you did, you gave off a scent that the bad guys could find you. So we got pretty stinky.
Dirty and alive is better than clean and not.
This is a different kind of war. Its goal is to defeat American power and to extend communism. And there are great stakes in the balance.
We all know people who have served. They all sacrificed. Their service is honorable. But very few of those people did what Ted Braden did.
We were in there for about 3 days, We raised some hell, burned the village down, and did some damage to the enemy with personnel.
When this becomes your everyday life, your everyday you is impacted.
Ted's teammate never forgot that story about how crazy he was just to not even study where they were sleeping for the night, and they woke up and realized they were on the edge of the enemy's bunker all night and went undetected. It's just another example of how he flirted with danger but always seemed to get away with it.
In Pittsburgh, Ted feared his boss. In Vietnam, the opposite was true.
He was not forgiving of mistakes. Let me put it to you that way.
With Ted as his leader, Al had a feeling.
There are things that he did that I did not agree with. He was a team leader, so it was his team. But I'm not sure how much I trusted Ted.
Good instincts. Drew found another man who knew Ted Braden from Vietnam.
Yeah, it's all right. What can I do for you?
And he has opinions.
He's crazy. He's crazy as hell. I'd be in a club. He'd walk in and sit at another table. I'd drink with my left hand, my right hand on a pistol. He's crazy. If he'd move fast, I'd probably shoot him.
Leonard Tilley, Distinguished Service Cross and Silver Star recipient, Vietnam.
I didn't trust Braden.
Ted Braden did things in Vietnam that would destroy you and me.
If you screwed up, the Americans would shoot your ass. I mean, that's pretty extreme amount of danger these guys were putting themselves in.
Definitely, it was just something that these guys were aware of before they went in. Now, I don't want to give the impression that they had absolutely no backup over there, because they did. If it was doable and they had the assets, they would try to extract the American team.
You had to be a certain type of person to be doing this pretty much on your own or in very small groups of people. You're either on your own or you're with a couple of other people, and you're not really there because you don't exist. There is stories of if they're going to land in the wrong place, they'll take their own people out.
The trait of somebody who demands loyalty is narcissism and insecurity.
You know, part of me thinks it's somewhat ego, and it's also military structure.
That'd be a scary thing to be part of his unit, because you're 100% at his command and at his mercy. He was not the kind of guy to tolerate disobedience.
It is part narcissistic where, you know, having to be right, he was just that way. He trusted himself more than others, and I think he felt that was his means of control. Many things he did, you know, they were not by the book, but that it made sense to him and maybe not others, so he demanded even more loyalty as to not question when he would go outside of these military norms.
I've come to the conclusion in life, and also in obviously in this kind of military scenario, There is two types of people, leaders and followers. If you're very good at something, you ultimately become a leader. Demanding loyalty, I suppose Ted seems to have a way of getting people out of things alive. I think he knew he was good at what he did.
And and if he's getting people out of situations, if he's effective, then it's kind of an earned loyalty at that point too.
I suppose you do have this Hollywood idea that they're all, after a long day of battle, you wash in one of these old-fashioned kind of cowboy bath kind of things. But, these guys were, as we've discussed earlier, they weren't really there. So not bathing saved their lives. And you don't really even think about things like the smell of soap.
A hot shower. When they finally got back to base camp and got one, it was seen as a luxury item. They would just go weeks and weeks without. That's something they just didn't do. It wasn't worth the risk.
Subscribers access the decades-old documents that brought this story to life. Subscribe. YouShouldNotKnowThis.org.
Tim Wallace has been investigating Ted Braden for several years.
We've been learning about Ted as a slightly older gentleman, and we've gone back in time, and
we can't know what it was like to be Ted Braden, but we can focus on what formed him.
We've been discussing, but he was obviously very good at what he did. Considered a super soldier, I suppose.
The problems of Vietnam are quite complex. They are a mixture of political turmoil, of poverty, of religious and factional strife, of ancient servitude, and modern longing for freedom. Vietnam is also the scene of a powerful aggression that is spurred by an appetite for conquest.
I went on 2 missions for sure, and for some reason it sticks in my mind that there may have been a third. But 2 missions, absolutely.
Every mission was a movie plot and played out accordingly.
We were going to go in there and do a wiretap.
This is on the ground behind enemy lines, sneaking behind their backs kind of stuff.
They gave us a night vision piece of shit that didn't work for the crap.
Where 1960s technology led to frustration. And worse.
Across the valley, they landed right in the middle of an NVA enclave, and it was all downhill from there.
That's what these guys were facing. An entire unit, just like Ted's unit, dropped right on top of the enemy.
There was nothing they could do for the team. And they said, the B-52s are in the air. Get the hell out of there.
The bombs were coming.
Ted just cut the wire. He broke up the night scope because he didn't want to carry the weight. And we headed out of there. They had a nice little surprise. The B-52s dropped their load.
Ted Braden was a leader who lived and led by his own rules.
In Vietnam, the Vietnamese were split up between North and South. So we had South Vietnamese good guys fighting alongside us. And then we had what was called the NVA, the North Vietnamese fighters, and those were the bad guys. So one day they were going to go on a mission with a friendly team, a South Vietnamese team. For some reason, Ted had such a dislike for these friendly Southern Vietnamese fighters. He just did not like them. So one day he's informed by a higher up that his team was going to go on a joint mission with a South Vietnamese team. And that just didn't go over well with Ted Braden. He picked up this leader of the other team and he threw him on the ground, and the guy began to cry. And Ted said, "You're not, telling me anything. I'm leading this group." And by virtue of doing that, they let Ted lead. So in that instance, his bad behavior was rewarded, and he wound up leading that joint mission that day.
In the words of Tom, the former pagan,
strong enough to take what you want, strong enough to keep what you take.
Vietnam taught you to survive. Or else.
Pittsburgh, the store robbery, as he's obviously doing these crimes, he must be thinking about his earlier life and Vietnam. That sort of translates across some of his crimes. They kind of all escaped into the night. Ted seemed like a bit of a planner, plan missions and things like that, and I do think that translates through probably most of his life. Everything he seemed to do, I get the feeling, was planned.
If Vietnam didn't squash your soul,
We watched him get wiped out.
it battered your body.
Now, the result of that was that both Jim Hetrick and myself got malaria.
Jim was another great soldier. And this wasn't Pittsburgh.
We ended up in the hospital in Da Nang.
Ted Braden did not.
Shortly thereafter, Braden, to my knowledge, just disappeared.
He meant that he was gone from being in country, which they called being in Vietnam. They did not know where he was. He did not report back to base camp, and he was literally just gone. He just fled on his own, which is completely unheard of course.
Ted learned to vanish long before his Erie County jail cell. Al Keller served in combat with Ted Braden. Leonard Tilley knew Ted outside of combat.
He was crazy, but knew what he was doing.
Different environments, same reaction.
Yeah.
Ted Braden was not like you and me.
I will say here boldly now on television, no, the real enemies of my people are right here, not in Vietnam. We who follow the most honorable Elijah Muhammad take no parts in wars, as the Holy Quran teaches us.
I know the pain that it has inflicted. I know perhaps better than anyone the misgivings that it has aroused. What we are doing now is vital to the security of every American.
He had simultaneously this very domineering, task at hand attitude, demanded loyalty, not forgiving for mistakes, that sort of thing. And yet he himself would be, he'd break convention and be almost reckless sometimes in the way he did things, which seems like two extremes operating at the same time.
He seems like I wouldn't say a wanderer, but, being the fact that we know he was a trucker, he does seem to be someone who doesn't like to plant his feet somewhere for too long. But when it comes to Vietnam, there was obviously a problem, whether it was the fact that he'd been there too long or he just wasn't happy with the way things were. But, I think one thing we've come to the conclusion is if Ted wants to do something, he'll do it. Just upping and leaving.
His survival in Vietnam itself, I think, is pretty impressive. You have a guy who is in tight control over the people in his unit, over the people under his command, and yet he's frequently entering into situations where he has almost no control, where death is just one unpredictable misstep away, and him and everybody around him could just be obliterated. And I just can't imagine what kind of reshaping that does to a person's brain, being in that environment all the time. And yet he seemed to kind of be thriving in that environment. So definitely not like your average person.
He was basically a super soldier, but he was very, very reckless. Fear of death was not on his table. Mr. Tilley knew that Braden was off his rocker, basically. And Leonard Tilley was no shrinking violet, of course. He earned a DSC in Vietnam and another engagement. Yet when Braden gets in his orbit, he has to put his firearm in his right hand. That's how he felt about the man. Certain guys did like him, but Tilley was not one of them. He felt like he was literally a loose cannon on the deck. Like he said in his own words, if the man had moved too fast, I just would have shot him.
You know, when you watch a movie sometimes and there's the hero of the movie and you know that they're going to survive to the end, the people who come into the movie, you always say, well, if you hang with that guy, you're going to make it to the end of the movie. You're going to survive the alien, or you're going to survive the battle. Now, that is Ted Braden. You know, you want to hang with him because he will get you out of there.
You Should Not Know This is a real, ongoing investigation. See the files behind the series when you subscribe at youshouldnotknowthis.org.
Has much to be proud of. In the indisputable improvement of human rights, I
Ian Glover, the newest member of the investigation team.
I think it's here in Vietnam that we kind of begin to see the extent to what Braden's capable of, both the impressive and also kind of the horrifying.
Thing is,
just the erratic nature.
Ted Braden wasn't the only member of this ultra-secret, death-defying, undercover Rambo group.
The reckless and
nothing officially made Ted different from the other soldiers.
Break with convention.
Nothing on paper. Nothing on a patch. But Ted Braden was different. Unofficially.
And yet very competent at the same time.
Al Keller didn't pick up on a pattern.
Ted had plenty of connections.
He picked up on its symptoms.
And he would disappear for, periods of time and come on back.
So, I mean, here you have a guy, full-time service member in an elite unit, conducting dangerous missions in a foreign country. He goes off to attend other business, and I just can't imagine what he could be doing and what these, quote, connections he had could be. Was he crossing borders? Was there a second employer? Where did he go?
Keller assumed these were government-sanctioned disappearances, but they didn't make sense. None of the other teammates were vanishing and coming back. They all worked for the government, too.
When he disappeared, he was in civvies. He had his passport with him, with a sport jacket.
Always a snappy dresser.
The military didn't really know who in the hell he was.
Well, what could that mean? What could Ted be a part of that the military, who surely had to grant him leave, wouldn't even know about?
Nobody in Ted Braden's elite army unit wore a standard uniform. Sometimes they wore the enemy's uniform.
We wore black pajamas.
Really?
Okay.
But they never wore a sport coat. Drew knows all about this stuff.
Yes, this was definitely not normal army, especially a team leader like Braden. Starting the pajama thing, they were all black, which was a little bit similar to what their enemy was wearing, and it would buy that just split second of timing. Eventually, even the black pajamas had to go away because it was so against the regular army norms. Although there was this mass flexibility, there was also limits to it as well.
Not only did Al Keller claim Ted Braden embarked on unexplained solo movements, he also saw Ted get away with things the other guys did not.
He got away with a lot of shit, to say the least.
That was 15 years, give or take, before Pittsburgh and the Ohio Turnpike. You have to wonder if something was watching over Ted on the Turnpike. Was it already watching over him in Vietnam?
It is evident everywhere I go in Vietnam that the American fighting man of this war is the best trained soldier we have ever put into the field. I say this not only because he outfights the enemy or because he is tougher and stronger and smarter. He is all of these things. But today's American soldier is something more. He is a thoughtful man. Never before have we asked so much of our soldiers. They have the unqualified admiration of this command.
In Pittsburgh, Joseph Gato spent 17 years in prison. He's accused of celebrating freedom by ending the lives of his wife and her boyfriend. Ted Braden could relate to such an allegation. During a Vietnam ambush, with chaos everywhere, with nobody looking, Ted Braden was accused of ending the service of an Allied soldier. A good guy. His own guy. Ted took him down. Permanently. One account states he was charged and placed under house arrest.
A friendly fighter on our side, but he was Vietnamese. He just did not like them, even though they were on our side. He apparently encounters one gentleman and extinguishes him. He's later found face down in a rice paddy. And those guys immediately knew that he encountered Ted Braden. There was no question about it. And it pretty much shocked even the rest of his team. These are the hardened guys doing the really dirty work. And even this shocked them. Some of the other team members did relay that to upper command. Braden was called in, held under house arrest for this. They knew he did it. He admitted to it. They felt that this got out to a reporter and back to the States, they would have run with it. So they just brushed it under the rug, never to mention it again.
Leonard Tilley could sense it. And he didn't waver.
He's crazy.
None of us knew Ted Braden. Those who did have strong opinions. Drew learned through his investigation that Ted could keep a secret. Our later investigation revealed the same. Frank from Schaefer's Lounge.
I mean, I don't know. He never talked about stuff like that.
Frank didn't know Ted was ever in the Army. Certainly not an elite soldier. I'll tell you that Ted Braden had 2 biological children. But Ted wouldn't tell his own friends.
Ted had a really good friend in the early 1960s. They knew each other very well. They would spend a lot of holidays together. We had discovered that Ted had 2 biological children. This particular gentleman, who was literally Ted Braden's best friend in the 60s, had no earthly idea that Ted had biological children. And it literally stunned him speechless and led to him being actually hurt by that. His friend would not have shared that with him.
mafia?
You know, there's not a whole lot of people talking.
The pagans?
You didn't want to know any more about anybody's business than was necessary.
The turnpike?
Very quiet. Only told you what you needed.
Keeping quiet was Ted Braden's normal. And it didn't start in the Rust Belt.
By keeping it quiet, it also keeps his leverage up.
Quiet and conniving.
I'll keep it quiet. You keep it quiet. Get me the hell out of here.
Ted Braden was mysterious long before 1982. In Vietnam, Ted was taking unexplained leaves from his own elite unit. Maybe another feared boss. Maybe the same one. Learning what Ted Braden learned in Vietnam helps explain what happened later. Violence, silence, camouflage, deception.
You see somebody in black pajamas, you're not thinking that they're Americans. That's for daggone sure.
A second is a lifetime when you're somewhere you shouldn't be, fighting something you shouldn't be fighting. And nobody's coming to save you.
A second truly was a lifetime in the situation these guys were in. Split-second decisions, they were truly life or death.
I think emotionally, I would feel very, very solitary.
It's just so far removed from the life of an average person where survival at every moment just depends on these split-second decisions, on a code of silence.
Ted Braden survived things you only see in movies. It's not entirely clear that he hated it.
We were not supplied a lot of stuff. I mean, everything we got, we scrounged.
By all accounts, he liked it. It looks like Ted thrived in Vietnam.
One of the things he taught me in the short time I was with him, take advantage of the black market.
One thing that Ted was interested in the most was making money. Ted was always looking to make a buck on the side. He would even call it that, a buck on the side, working the black market in Vietnam for whatever he could get. That was as important to him as the conflicts.
It's hard to tell if Ted Braden protected himself or if he had a death wish.
They said, you take a prisoner, you get an extra week of R&R for all the Americans on the team.
Risk your life.
So anytime you got one, you were making contact.
For a day off.
We stirred up the hornet's nest.
To put your life in danger to capture a prisoner just to get an extra piece of, relaxation. Well, that really indicates how important relaxation was.
The polite turnpike drunk was once an elite American soldier. In Vietnam, Ted Braden learned a lot. He learned that consequences were negotiable. In Vietnam and the Rust Belt.
Secrecy is something that seems to be a thread through this guy's story.
It seems like there's times where the secrecy was beyond the need for secrecy. It just became ingrained into his personality. So even while he was plastered drunk, he was still not given up anything, and maybe for good reason, but also it just seemed to come naturally to him, and maybe that was ingrained in Vietnam.
That is Braden to a T, and that would carry over from Nam to the turnpike all day long. Not giving his name, going to the drunk take, maybe things are escalating. He could put himself in that level of danger, even intoxicated, but he'd always get away with it.
Just keeping all his cards close.
To be honest with you, of all the people in history that I've ever looked into, I don't think I've ever seen someone who could keep a secret better than Ted Braden, whether it be military secrets, family secrets, crime secrets. Nobody seemed to know anything about him. He's a stealthy gentleman, and obviously that was very, very helpful when he was in Vietnam, and I think it's obvious that he's used his skills and brought them forward, and now it's for his own personal use.
I mean, if he's not revealing to his good friends anything about his personal life, I wonder how much he really cares about those friends. I wonder if there's some sociopathy there, strange human behavior.
You do have to wonder how much his family knew him, the people that he shared his life with actually knew him. The famous phrase is keeping under the radar, isn't it? As Drew said earlier, he didn't tell his best friend he had 2 children. We know he had 2 children. Through our investigations, we probably know more about him than anybody else.
It appears that Ted kind of enjoyed Vietnam. He was out doing deals and playing the black market and doing some petty crime on the side, all while being a full-time soldier, as if he kind of got a thrill from the adrenaline and the danger.
At the end of the day, it was all about the raw dollars. Making money with skills that he learned, turning that into dollars, and then working the black market to make even more. But it was not enough. He didn't need to tell anybody in his world. In his world, he was boss. He didn't have to go tell his superior, I'm just going to go do it. Even if that meant leaving an active combat zone, I'm just going to go do it.
You should not know this is not an accusation, nor is it an attempt to reframe, glorify, or sensationalize. It is the newly discovered documentation of one man's remarkable, not honorable, life by definition. There are people who experience Ted Braden in ways documents cannot. If you knew Ted, please reach out to the investigation, publicly or privately, on the record or off. Make contact at youshouldnotknowthis.org.
Ted Braden didn't leave Vietnam broken by the machine. He brought the machine home. It's time for us to break and enter.
I don't think this individual had PTSD.
Ted's mind.
You should not know this, but they're too late.